Hey everybody, welcome back to Darvanalee Designs Studio. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole Reed and today we are here for another A to Z Quilt Block challenge. It is Block V, the variable star. So let's get started. Good morning or good evening everybody, and welcome back to the channel. We are playing a little bit of catch up with our A to Z Quilt Block challenge. Got a little bit waylaid there at the beginning of November, and so we are playing catch up. So over the next couple of weeks you will be getting all of your blocks right up until the letter Z, and today, as I said, we are up to block V. It's called the variable star, and as you can see, it looks like a pretty difficult block to go together, but I assure you it is pretty simple. So basically today we are going to be making a couple of components and then just adding them together in rows. So the first component that we're making is our cornerstones and our center, and then we have some quarter square triangles. All right, so let's get stuck into it. I've done a little bit of prep work, so I won't keep you too long because I know we're coming up to the busy season of holiday season where we've got Christmas and all the things that happen during that time. So I don't want to keep you too long today. All right, so let's have a look at this sheet. You can get it is down below. Okay, we're doing a 15-inch block today. Now, just to make sure that we understand, we do have the 9-inch block on here, and as I'm going I will explain where you need to square that up to, so keep an ear out for that as well. All right, for now what you need to do is download your PDF, or you can just open it up on your tablet and use your tablet to save some paper and save some ink. Basically there are no templates or anything like that. It's all done with the rotary cutter, and you can see there that you have quite a number of things to cut. So grab that, head off, cut that, and then come back and we will be ready to go. So you can see that I've got my two components here that we need to make. We have a square in the center here with some strips around the outside, and then we've got our quarter square triangles. So once you have cut your big squares, you're going to cut them corner to corner, and I will link up the variable star because this is very similar to the same. We had quarter square triangles in that, so rather than rehashing over that and what you need to do, I will actually put that video down below. You can go and check that out, and that shows you how to cut your squares into triangles. So essentially you have your large 6 1/4, because I'm talking the 15-inch here, you have your large 6 1/4 square in the white, green and the red, and all you're going to do is place them flat one at a time. I prefer to cut them, and you cut corner to corner until you yield for squares out of it. All right, so you will have 2 squares of green. That is not a typo, that is correct, because as you can see here we have 2 green bits that are coming into each other. All right, and then you'll only have 1 white and 1 red. Makes it nice and simple. The other things that you're going to need today are your general sewing supplies, a working sewing machine with matching thread, and of course you're going to need your iron and ironing pad, and a couple of little rulers there to do some squaring up. All right, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to make our square component here, and we take our little square piece and we take our smallish pieces here. Now these should measure 3 inches by 1 3/4. And then all we're going to do is place them on top like so, right sides together, and sew a 1/4 inch seam, and we're going to do the same at the bottom end. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is get our square ruler, and we're going to square this up to 5.5 inches. And to do that, we're going to place our diagonal 45-degree mark on our square in the center, and then we're going to line this up to the 5.5 inch. Now you will not have to take too much off, okay? This is pretty good. If you keep to true to your 1/4 inch seam allowance, it will stay pretty true, and you might just have to take a little bit off. Okay, so as you can see, I don't have to take too much off at all. Okay, just a little slither there just to straighten it up, and then I'll turn that around of the area that I've already cut, and I'll line that up again. That 45-degree angle is going from corner to corner on my square, and I can see that that is sitting on 5.5 on the top and the bottom, and again we just need to take a little bit off. Okay, so that is now squared up. You're going to repeat that 5 times with that section, so you'll end up with 5 components. That's our 4 cornerstones and our center block. Next, we're going to make our 1/4 square triangles. So you can see here that we've got 4 triangles, but we've got our 2 green going in together, and that is making the points of the star. So to do that, all we need to do is lay out our little triangles here, and I like to lay everything out because, you know, let's face it, sometimes we can get a little bit directionally challenged and put things in the wrong place or going the wrong way. So I've got that laid out, and all I'm going to do is take a green one and place it on each of my other triangles, like so. And then on the edge that I'm going to sew, I will put a pin in so I don't get confused on where I need to sew this, and I will start sewing these on the 90-degree angle. Okay, and the reason that I do that is so my machine is notorious for sucking down my points, so I will need a leader cloth when it comes time to putting the 1/4 square triangle together, but right now I'm okay because I've got this flat edge to start from. And I will sew with the needle in the down position, and that means that I will be able to chain piece pretty effectively. Once I'm ready to start sewing, I'm just using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And remember, we are working with triangles that are cut on the bias, so they are a little bit stretchy, and we do not want to stretch them. We want them just to feed through the machine nice and gently. Okay, let's cut those apart and press these seams open. Like always, I like to give a good press before I put these together. And as I said, I have linked up down below last week's block, which has how to cut your squares. I thought it was best just to not repeat myself, and that way it will keep the video nice and short. Okay, once you've got those seams pressed open, head to the iron, give them a nice press. Okay, and you can see they sit nice and flat. Remember, and try not to stretch your triangles. Okay, and then that way we can put these together, get rid of any long threads that might be in the way. Get rid of those. Okay, so now we have our seams pressed. As you can see, nice and open. We're going to place this together. We're going to lay our seams on top of one another. And then we are going to put in a fork pin. Yes, the fork pin's my favorite pin. And then we're going to grab our leader cloth and pop that onto our sewing machine. Needle in the down position. Okay, so then what we're going to do is just take our little triangle and pop that under there, and using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, we're going to stitch that down. And I'm going to keep coming up to that fork pin, and I'm just going to stop just beforehand, lift the presser foot up, take that fork pin out. Because the needle's in the down position, it's going to hold everything in place for me. And then we'll continue going. And again, we're just going to let this slide through the machine. Okay, it's just going to feed itself through, and let the feed dogs do the work. And then that way we won't stretch our triangles, and we won't get a warped 1/4 square triangle. So there you go. You can see there that it's all gone together quite nicely. Next, what we're going to do is press our seams open. So I'll just go to the center here, and I start opening that up. And then we'll head to the sewing machine and to the iron, and press that open. Okay, so once you've got that pressed open, you're going to take your ruler again and you're going to line up your 45-degree angle onto this, and we are going to square this up to 5.5 inches as well. Now with these quarter square triangles, most of the time you're just taking the dog ears off. You might get a little bit of warpage on the triangles, but for the most part you're pretty much just taking off the dog ears and just cleaning up the edges. So our 45-degree angle is on that seam where the fabrics meet, okay, and we want to keep that nice and straight, and we're going to just take a little bit off with our rotary cutter. And as I said, a lot of time it is just a little bit of dog ears that we're taking off, and maybe just a tiny little bit of the fabric. So you can see there the fabric was a little bit warped, so we've just taken a little bit off. I'm going to spin that around so we've got our nice cut edges that we just cut on the left and at the bottom, and we're going to place our 45-degree angle. This time I am definitely lining up that 5.5 inch mark on the straight edges, okay, and you can see we do have a little bit to go off, and my 45-degree angle is lining up nicely. And again, it is just a little bit that we need to take off, and that's just going to square it up and make it nice and easy for everything to ease into the block. Okay, so now that we have, and you're going to repeat that until you have 4 units. Now that we have all our components done, what you're going to do next is do our layout. Now, the square layout is very important. When you look at your diagram here, you can see that we have our long strips going in the vertical fashion, okay? So now what we want to do is make sure that all our seams are going to be going, all our strips are going in the right direction. So I like to lay it out. Now this is a bit bigger block, so it will be a bit tricky to get it all on camera, but we will endeavor to get it there. So hopefully you can see that. All right, so you can see there that all of my long strips are going in the same direction. And now what we need to do is make our star. So we're just going to pop this down, okay, this very rough laying down of the blocks, okay, just to give us a general direction where everything is going, okay, and you can see there that now we have that star starting to appear. So like any 9 patch, we're going to sew the 3 rows together, the 3 blocks to create our rows, and then we'll create our block by adding our rows to one another. So this is really easy. We don't actually have, with any of our rows, we don't actually have any seams to worry about. So it's just a case of putting them right sides together, making sure that our raw edges are lining up, and using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And basically all I'm going to do is work down one side of the block, and then I'll come back and add these on, and we'll press our seams open and then put our block together. Okay, so now that we've got all that pressed and ready to go, we're going to sew our rows together. So like with always, we're going to place our fabrics right sides together, and then we're going to line up our seams, and we're going to focus on the seams first, and then we'll worry about everything else. And we're going to use our fork pins, and then we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and we're going to line up our raw edges and use a 1/4 inch seam allowance and sew it together. Okay, so there we have it, the variable star block, and it is a pretty quick and simple block to go together. It looks a little bit complicated, but as I said, nice and simple to go together. I do hope that you enjoyed making this today. If you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up down below, and also if you've yet to subscribe, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it. And just a heads up, this series will be returning next year. We'll have another series of blocks, and we'll also have some companion videos to go together for some of the blocks that we've done this year, so keep an eye out for that. So to make sure that you get those notifications, you need to hit that bell icon to all notifications. But that is it for me today. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.